Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Tonight we are going to interview a recent traveler through the latest security program in the airports. Good evening, sir. Good evening. Thank you for having me. I understand that just over a week ago you put out a short video that you had experienced the latest pat-down inspection at the airport. Yes. Unfortunately, I had forgotten the earbuds that I had put in my shirt pocket. I was pulled aside for an anomaly. The TSA representatives were very professional. But I can definitely understand why people are upset. Why is that? The pat-down in Houston was in an enclosed room, at least. I have seen it in public in other airports. There is not a part of you that is not touched. But you said that it was okay for our safety. It might be. I should say, I thought so, at first. Why changed your mind? No matter how hard they pressed, put their hands in my pockets, touched me in the most private places, they did not find the anomaly, my earbuds. But aren't earbuds very small? Yes, but when I stepped into the men's room I realized that the earbuds were there because I could see them in the mirror. Wow. So, what are you going to do now? Unfortunately, in my business, I have to travel a lot. I used to say that if a trip was under 6 hours I would just drive. Now I'm saying that if it is 8 to 10 hours, I will have to consider driving over flying. Aren't you being a little modest? No, I'm not worried about that at all. I have absolutely no confidence in our airline security. I think that we are doing things that are aimed at making people feel safe, not solutions to the problem. I'm also worried about the brain power of the people who came up with this latest idea. That is a pretty strong statement. Is there anything else that caused this feeling? Yes. During the flight, immediately after this, a group of TSA trainees were brought on our aircraft to fly wherever. Two of the young trainees that sat next to me were texting back and forth to each other making nasty comments about others on the flight. I noticed because one of them, a young man, kept looking at me and giggling then would text. I have to say that I looked and saw him make a comment about me on his iPhone. That sounds harmless. It would be, except that I overheard one of the older men mention that they were being trained to view the X-ray screening devices. Then it got particularly interesting. Why is that? The stewardess kept having to tell the two young, giggling, trainees to turn off their phones. They finally did. Then, as we were accelerating to take off, the one next to me immediately turned his phone back on. I had to tell him to turn it off. Wow. Isn't that a violation of FAA rules? Yes, and it makes me wonder about the majority of the people that are being hired. Worse, about the assurances that pictures would not be taken and put on the internet. Holy cow. Yes. Unfortunately, as a root cause failure analyst and journalist, I'm trained to observe. There are a great many problems that the casual observer does not necessarily pay attention to. Well, thank you for your comments. Thank you for having me. And thank you for joining us.